I didn't expect to marry someone, devote my entire life to them, just to have it end in 5 years. We have been taught all our lives that 2 plus 2 equals 4. A simple input equals a simple output. But what happens when the input that we put in doesn't equal the expectation of the outcome? I didn't expect that my 2 plus 2 wouldn't equal 4. Society, laws, and cultures set expectations for us and how we're supposed to live our lives. Does God set expectations for us? Or are we setting expectations for ourselves? Being raised Christian, it's easy to see the simple outputs of a happy ending. That if we do 2 plus 2, it must equal 4. That if we live the commandments, if we go to church, pay our tithing, if we're kind, if we forgive, then it must equal 4. It must equal happiness. But that is where our expectations become wrong. And that is what I want to talk to you today. Does God set expectations for you? Or are you setting those outcome of expectations? Does God say that if you serve a mission, go to church, and live kindly, that your marriage will be strong? Well, if that's true, then clearly my outcome and my expectation didn't happen. Because I was the one that went to church every Sunday. I went to girls' camp. I finished my personal progress. I was kind. I was forgiving. I served a mission. I got married in the temple. I made sure that our family went to church and that we paid tithing. So where's my outcome? Where's my 2 plus 2 equals 4? And why am I here today as a woman who's getting divorced? It's very easy to mix society, law, and culture expectations with God's expectations. So ask yourself the question, does God have expectations of you? And if He does, what are they? Be ye perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. Let's think about that for a minute. We know we are in the element of time, and the only thing that we have control of is now, right here in this present. We can't control the future or the past. So if it's be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect, then what is perfection? Let's look back on what the purpose of God's plan is for us. We know that we are here to find happiness forever. So wouldn't it be easy to say that perfection is happiness? So that poses the question, does happiness depend on others' agency? Are you living your life with the expectation that someone else's agency will give you happiness? That someone else's actions and what they do will make you happy? Well, if that doesn't make sense, then what's happiness? How do we set our expectations? Do we set our expectations? And how do we find happiness? Is there one way to find happiness? Is there one way that we need to expect ourselves to live? Now, I'm not questioning the commandments of going to church, reading your scriptures, and paying tithing. That's not what I'm questioning. What I'm questioning is the outcome that you believe happens because you do those things. My definition of perfect is living forever in happiness. So let's go back to happiness, because if being perfect is finding true happiness, how do you know if you're happy? And how do you accomplish happiness? Is accomplishing happiness something you do? And happiness is a choice. It's your ability to choose if you want to be happy. Joy is conditioned. It's conditioned on you. It's how you choose to play your cards rather than what cards you were given. If you looked at my life on paper, it would not equal happiness, nor would it equal 4. But if you looked at me now, without paper, you would see that I have chosen happiness. I choose joy. My life is conditioned on me and what I choose. This video isn't just for divorced people or divorcing people. It is for anybody who has set expectations in their lives and then had the outcome not equal for. It's for those who struggle to have children, for those who are suffering with health issues, for those parents dealing with a wayward child. You may not be the one with the high expectation, but you may be the one who had the high expectations set upon you. You may be the one watching where you didn't fulfill the expectation of the society, law, or culture that was put on you. But does that mean that you can't find happiness either? Just because you don't fit the mold, does that mean you can't be perfect even as our Father in heaven is perfect? Who sets this mold? Who sets these expectations? Is it you? Is it society? Or is it God? Just because we don't fit the mold, whether it's by choice or circumstance, that doesn't mean that we can't find happiness. God is a jealous God. He desires a relationship with you because He loves you, not because He feels that He knows what's best. He may know what's best, but He did give you the ability to choose for yourself because He loves you. The gospel is not a math equation. Culture is not a math equation. God does not have a list of expectations. I know you're thinking in the back of your head, the commandments kind of look like a list, but think about what the Savior taught to the Pharisees and Sadducees. He said, it is not the letter of the law, it is the spirit of the law. For the gospel doesn't teach us what we should be doing. It teaches us how to govern our relationships with ourselves, with God, and with others. Of course, God set into place commandments and rules and guidelines, but the reason why He did those is that so we may learn to love and to be loved. God did not create a mold for all of us to fit. He created us unique and different so that we may be able to learn and grow from each other and find out what makes us happy. If I were to say God had an expectation, the only expectation that He has is that you love. We must learn to love ourselves before we can love God. And before we can love ourselves and love God, then can we love others. The whole gospel is centered around how to build relationships, how to build relationships with yourself, with God, and with others. It becomes very easy to focus on 2 + 2 = 4 because it's simple, it's easy, and it's concrete, and it is a mold. So if it is the spirit of the law that we are to embrace, then empower yourself with that grace that is in the spirit of the law. Practice self-love, practice self-joy, and practice self-respect. Set your expectations to be happy. Play your cards and do it well because it's up to you to find happiness, nobody else. 2 + 2 may equal 4 on paper, but it sure doesn't equal that in my life. I choose happiness. I choose joy. So I say, choose ye this day to find happiness, even as your Father in heaven is happy. Because you deserve happiness. That is the purpose of this life. And don't forget, Adam fell that man might be, and man are that we might have joy. Thanks for listening. Leave your comments below. Let's get some discussion started. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and touch that bell to be notified of whenever I have new videos. This is our time to find joy. This is our time to find happiness. God gave it to you, so use it.